My name is Jill Williams, and I'm kind of your hostess today, along with Rodney Hurley, here at the Kumble Theater for Tea with Ella. Ella was such an integral part of our organization, Clark Center for the Performing Arts, and so we just felt it would be special for us to piggyback on the season here, the 40th anniversary of the Charles Moore Dance Theater, and give you a sense of what an amazing career Ella has had pre-Charles Moore and then through the working with him. So what you saw were some excerpts from the company's season over the years, but I don't want to do too much talking. I want to welcome Ella Moore and our moderator for today, Zita Allen. Thank you.
Hello.
So, can everyone hear us? Ella, you want to just sort of say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you for coming out. I never did this before, so I never know what, I didn't know what to, oh, Loretta.
It's like old home week.
I said that because I just heard that you were in the hospital. So I'm very happy to see you. Okay.
So welcome,
Loretta,
everybody.
We've been friends for, really a very long time. Okay, do I need
Does
it?
she need to hold it? Yeah.
Do I need it? Or-
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going
You
to...
need it.
Get you in the wrap.
Let me just move my clothes. Great, and I'll make up a point of talking now.
Okay.
Let's move it back a little bit. Tea with Ella. This is really an exciting occasion. Ella and I have been talking back and forth about this, and it's just really very, very fantastic that you guys are here. First of all, I want to let you know, you all, everybody here, it's like old home week, so everybody knows Ella. Yes. But a lot of people, some of the audience who might not know, a lot of you know Ella a lot as the person who really is keeping the Charles Moore Dance Theater alive, right? Who has basically picked up the mantle from the and really handled the company that was founded by her late husband, the iconic Charles Moore, and she's really supervised the placement of works like Charles's Awasa, Ostrige, on other companies like the Alvin Ailey American Dance Company, and other companies around the world are doing this piece too. Yeah.
In France, there, Juan Carlos did it on a festival, French festival. Okay. Okay, and it's actually, the ostrich is on 5 companies now around different, the first one was Dayton, the Dayton Contemporary. It's also in Dallas. It's in Greensboro, North Carolina, in a college.
It's fantastic.
But that was Dwayne Cyrus from the Ailey Company who did reduce that. And then now the Ailey Company has been going all over the place. And I know because I get a little teeny royalty, so and it was kind of adding whatever they want. Okay, I'm very happy.
But in addition to that, what we did, really to sort of keep everything in perspective, Ella and I and Jill went through a lot of photographs and we talked about the history. So she had a treasure trove, a total treasure trove of material, of photos, programs, everything, videos, and we wanted to share as much with you as possible. So we're looking at 22 photos that we're going to, slides that we're going to go through. Some of them we're going to linger on, some of them we're just going to zip through, you know, pay a little attention to. But so I want to take a little step back and look at her history. But before we do that, I want you all to really get a kind of status report of where the company is right now. And Ella and I were talking about that. And this is really important because it really has a lot to do with the position of the arts, especially black companies, black dance companies in New York and in America today, right? 4 years ago, you lost your space. Tell us about
Due to gentrification, our landlord raised our rent. He tripled it, and no way we could stay in a space like that. It was a great space, but I couldn't. We just couldn't do that. So, you know, you move right along, but then it's very hard to find space because everyone here in downtown Brooklyn, there are lots of spaces, but they want you to come in and renovate them. You do all the work. They'll give you a lease, but when they decide they need the space, you have to go. You have 30 to 90 days to get out, and you can't take anything you did. So what's the point? Why would you go and renovate for them?
And the key thing about this space issue is that it was tied to having a home, was tied to the New York State Council on the Arts grants, National Endowment grants. So the company's been really eking out an existence by working with Symphony Space and the Department of Education. Tell folks about that.
We do mostly now, we mostly do assemblies in schools, and we do churches and organizations around the city and what have you. But Symphony Space, we have a long-lasting relationship. I think we've been with them about 10 years. And we do the African Studies program, which also has, you know, other people, visual artists, singers, other kinds of musicians. And then we're the dance company. So we go all over the 5 boroughs when we can, when they have work for us. It used to be that there were lots of schools. By this time of year, we would have done maybe 15, 20 schools. But now, this year, in the last few years, it's really cut. Not just for the African Studies program, but the agents, all the programs, because the Board of Ed, you know, they have everybody has a limited amount of money that they've got to spread around. And then the Common Core came in, and so that gets a lot, because the kids, they need additional tutoring and what have after school. So that takes out the arts, because they always, unfortunately, consider the arts a frill, you know?
Which we know definitely that they are not. So one of the things, the woman who's been keeping this company alive has an illustrious, amazing career of her own. So we want to just take a little step back in time, and we're going to look at some photos, some absolutely wonderful pictures. Can you see them from there?
Yeah, I can see.
Good. So let's begin with this one.
That's me at Howard University. That's me over there behind this girl. That was my roommate, and she was a really beautiful dancer. And when I got chosen to be in that dance, I couldn't believe it. Because when I went to college, that's the first formal dance training I ever had. Before, I would go to the Y, wherever there were free classes or whatever, because my father was an Episcopal minister, so I'm a preacher's kid, and that meant no dancing. But piano, yes, you can play the piano or something, an instrument, but not dance. So I used to have to find dance things to take. But when I got to Howard, they didn't have a dance program at that time like they do now, but they had this lady, Dr. Mary Rose Allen, who was the head of the phys ed department, and she loved dance, so she made sure that there were a lot of dance classes, and I was right there. So,
and there you are.
But she was the kind of lady that she used to watch all the rehearsals. So I remember I had a hard time with the shoulder roll, you know, when you drop and roll, and I just couldn't get over fast enough or something.
But you got it well enough.
She stood there, made me. She stayed in there in the gym one night and everybody was looking at me like, because I couldn't get, I was slow. But she was determined, and I got it, you know, and after that I tried to be faster, so everybody didn't get mad at me.
But eventually, your love of dance took you to
I never dreamed it was like that, because my family thought I was going to teach art education, which would have been probably good too, and they'll pay better.
But this took you to New York in the next slide.
It did.
And to New York and the Dunham School.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the Dunham School.
The Dunham School, at that time, when I came, was fantastic. They were affiliated with the the American Theater Wing. They were affiliated with that, so a lot of people came in. I know when I got there, people were saying to me, you should have come. Too bad you didn't come a few years ago because Marlon Brando was here taking class. I said, I don't care if I want to take class.
And who else was teaching there? Carl Shook was teaching
Carl
there?
Shook, yeah, Carl Shook was there. He came back from, I forgot which ballet company. Because Paul Zillard was with Ballet Russe, but I don't remember. But people would come back from performing in Europe and around the world to the Dunham School, and they would teach for a little while, like guest teachers, I guess.
And it was
you would
being
say.
run at that time by Sevilla, because Dunham.
Sevilla
was
Ford,
touring.
yeah, who was a fantastic dancer. I was always amazed at her feet, because she had very flat feet. When you walk, you see someone walking, and they're really flat. But then when she got in class, all of a sudden her foot started going, droop, 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 droop. And she had this beautiful point. And I was like, how did she do that? But and she explained it, you do in pieces, sort of. But she was a fantastic teacher.
And that's also where you met Walter, right?
Yeah, Walter Nix, oh, yep, Walter Nix. That's me up on the corner under his arm. And Pearl Reynolds on the other side. I don't know if any of you. And who else? Nat Horn, Billy Wilson. A lot of dancers that went on to do other stuff. So, and that's me down there looking. Yeah.
Now, tell us, is there a story behind these pictures?
That picture, that's a dance called Cabildo. And what happened was, Walter Nix, he was a very good teacher, and he got a great job in Mexico City, teaching at the Center of Insurgentes Center of Art or something. And he was doing very well there. And he said, I always wanted to start a company, so this is a good time because it's cheap here. So I'll send for some people to come down here and work with me in Mexico City.
And you were one of the people.
And I was one of the scholarship students, and a couple of us, they talked to us and said, would you like to meet Walter in Mexico City? What else did I have to do besides my little job in Stern's department store? So I said, sounds good to me. You remember Stern's?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, when you went down to Mexico, you ended up staying in the Latin American
Yeah,
region.
Walter, we went down there 3 days and 3 nights on the train. But we got there, and then you have the altitude to fight, Mexico City. And Walter was one of those stickler kind of very good teacher. I see Noel smiling. But Walter, you're going to get it. He was like Mary Rose Allen with the shoulder roll. You're going to get it. So that was good for me. But anyway, Walter got us jobs, so we could exist. So we started performing around Mexico City, and then we got this job to go, well first we got into a musical, a Mexican musical, with Cantin Flas, who was a Mexican comedian. And in fact, he was on Around the World in 80 Days, Passepartout, with him. So that's what we were doing. We were in the jungle of Mexico or whatever. That picture we saw us doing that.
And this merited you one
That I got in the paper. I was like, wow, this is pretty good.
And then from Mexico, you went to Havana,
Yeah.
Cuba.
We did, because Walter had gotten an agent. Because he
The next
said,
slide.
well, the companies do it looking good, and people were started to, write and what have you, and about us. So he got this job to go to Havana and perform in this nightclub, the Sans Souci. And there I am over there on in my Cuban dress with the cola, the train in the back, and whatever.
Flashy costume.
Yeah. Yep, we did Roomba, a Roomba.
How long
and
did you stay
whatever.
there? How long were you in
We were there, let's see, I guess about 6 months too. Yeah, we were there. Yep. And we had to
Working
every week,
constantly?
yeah, we were working there, and we worked other places, because that nightclub had a little catch clause that if you performed in the nightclub, you also had to do a TV show for no pay every week. Yeah, well, see, every place is not America, okay? You go and get out of the country, people have all these little things. So, but anyway, we did, so it was a good experience. So we were behind a lot of people, like background for them, you know, on TV.
And it must have been nice to really work constantly as well.
Yeah, and it was fun, because I was young and I didn't know any better either, so. But it was a lot of fun. But it was work, because Walter really did not fool around. We had class every day, in the tropic heat.
How
Every
many
day.
hours did you have class? How many hours?
Probably at least an hour and a half, and then, or two, and then we had rehearsal, so,
Wow.
yeah.
And did you get paid then for class and for rehearsal?
No, oh, no.
Just before.
We got a flat fee, that's it, includes everything.
Pretty standard. It was par for the course.
Yeah.
And then after staying in Latin America for about 2 years,
Yeah,
in that region,
we also went to the Dominican Republic, and,
you traveled a bit.
yeah, and then actually, our agent did something crazy when we were in the Dominican Republic, because there were a couple of other acts traveling with us, a flamenco and a couple other things. But we had a layover of about a week. So Santo Domingo, you know, is half of the island, the other half is Haiti. Since we came out of the Dunham School, and Haiti was like number one, we always doing that about Haiti. So he said, why don't we go over to Haiti while we're waiting? We could wait in Haiti just as well as here, and we could see Carnival. It was Carnival time. So Walter chartered a bus. I don't know how he did all these things, but he chartered a bus, and off we went through the mountains and up through the Cape and down into Port-au-Prince. And
It must have been wonderful.
well, yeah, I guess so. A little uncomfortable bus. It was an old school bus. But anyway, we did. And then what happened was we got stranded. The agent stranded us and the flamenco act, because they came with us. And there we were stuck in Haiti, Port-au-Prince. And that was interesting.
How long were you stuck there?
We were stuck there for almost the same length of time, about 5 months. We were waiting for stranded. But Walter, we had lots of little jobs. Walter was very, you know, found all these things, and we did a lot of big, Cabancho Coon is a big nightclub, I think the biggest one at that time. And we did little things all over.
Mainly in nightclub.
Yeah, because there's not much else.
And then after Haiti, how did you get back to New York?
We got a job in Puerto Rico at the Carib Hilton. Walter was always out there hustling. So that's how we got out of Haiti. We had to get a job or something. And then they tried to keep him because they wanted Walter to start a national dance company. They liked what they saw on us, so they said, oh, well, we'll keep him. You all can go, but we'll keep him.
Did he manage to
He
get
got
away?
out, yes. So we went to the Carib Hilton, and then finally got home. But it was 2 years we were out.
Now,
But that was my first job.
when you finally did get back home, what did you end up doing? You ended up doing a lot of Broadway
Yeah.
shows, I think.
Yeah, but Walter kept saying, don't take a permanent job because we're going to Venezuela. I said, oh yeah, okay. I kept doing that for about a year, and I think even he gave up. So, but I did. I went back to the Dunham School, and then I started auditioning and everything because I, had a little bit more under my belt. So I started working on Broadway and off-Broadway, whatever came along.
And I think this slide is from one of the shows that you were in.
That's Showboat, yeah, that's Carol Bryce, and that's me behind her, and my longtime partner, I had him in so many shows, Julius Fields. There, Harold Pearson, some of you might know, is down there, and Joan Peters from the ALE, teaches at ALE, and I don't know who else. This guy is a singer, I can't think of his name.
Which
And
one?
that tall, skinny, yeah. But yeah, that was City Center, I think.
So how
It
long
could
was
have been Jones Beach too, because they did Showboat.
Right, and I think Joe Nash was in
Mhm,
Showboat down in
yeah.
Jones Beach. And from there, we've got another photo of you, of a young Ella, which we're about to see. And I think this was,
Oh, you skipped me past,
No,
oh,
let's go back
that
to
one,
that.
yeah, that's
a sultry Ella.
me. Now that's a really,
Tell us the story behind
that's
this
funny.
photo.
That photo, first of all, that bra is way bigger than I was at the time. But that was my costume, it's just big bra came down. But you couldn't tell, I thought I was pretty hot.
But you were still a student. You were.
This was the Dunham School used to use the scholarship students, you know, to do backup at the Apollo. So that's at the Apollo Theater. And so they did this, I think it was a Caribbean, something it looks like, Caribbean number. And we would, you know, we would learn this stuff and go up and go behind bands. I remember Count Basie, because he was very nice, a very nice man. And he wouldn't let people bother the girls, you know. He was like, oh, stop. You know, he was very, very grandfatherly. He was a very nice man. But we did a lot at the Apollo. And Harold Pearson, again, was there. All of us were up there, so.
Do you remember what this costume was for?
It's something Caribbean, I think, but I don't know what the orchestra or we did one for Pearl Bailey, which was, that was, she made us practice in her dressing room. She said, I want to see what's behind me. So we had to go in like this, 6 people.
In her little dressing room. The dressing rooms at the Apollo were not
Very
big.
small, yep. That's Copper and Brass. That's my first Broadway show. It lasted about
You're on the
2
far
weeks.
left, right?
I'm there with Donald McKay.
I
This
thought that was
Donald
Donald.
was my partner. I had come a long way. And that's Harold Pearson and Coco Ramirez, who's Tina Ramirez's sister. Yeah. Well, we were all in the same bracket, time bracket,
And
you know.
another Broadway show is about to come up as well. Were you singing in this one? We're about to see.
Oh, that's me on the
West
end.
Side
That's
Story.
West Side Story, yeah.
Oh.
I went into West Side Story from Jamaica. I was in Jamaica and I knew it was gonna close. And I had auditioned for this before, but I couldn't do it at the time. So they called, I got a call to go for the national company. But what happened was I went and then West Side Story ran for another 7 months on Broadway. So I was still home. And then I went out on the road for a year, so.
So it looks like you were singing as well.
Yeah, that always helped. I could sing. So you can always understudy someone on Broadway and get a little extra money, or you might get a small part, if you can sing or whatever.
Now, who are the other people on?
Jeannie, oh goodness, I forgot her name. Jeannie and those are both. The one in the middle is a dancer, but they were more singer dancers,
Okay,
so
it's
they
not
didn't
Cheetah
dance
Rivera,
as
right?
much. No, that's not Cheetah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
that's-
on to the
oh,
next.
that's going-
Now, we're a little, our slides are a little out of sync in terms of time, but we're jumping ahead to 1958 and the Alvin Ailey program. It wasn't the company then at that point. The program that Alvin gave at the YMHA at
Yeah. That was-
92nd Street.
Yeah, that was the place to have dance concerts then, the YMHA at 92nd. So, but this, sorry, just tell me if I forget. I was with Alvin at that time. I was with Ernie Parham, who was a modern dancer, and he also did, well, we all did Broadway, because that's what you did at that time. But he choreographed half of the program and Alvin the other half. So it was a shared program.
And a lot of the dancers came from a lot of the different Broadway shows.
Oh, yeah,
And one of the other dancers on the program was Charles Moore.
yeah. But I didn't meet him there. I knew him already.
So we're going to go back to where you actually met him at.
I met him at the Dunham School, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, there he is, blowing smoke like he did. Those that took class with him know that Charles could teach class and smoke a cigarette and puff, blow, and do deep breathing. And I said, look at him like crazy. But he did it.
Yes. So what was he like when you first met him?
He's a very nice guy, and he came to the Dunham School, and I was a scholarship student, and my friend Audrey and I, we were in class. Everybody worked on the second position in the Dunham technique, big, nice, beautiful second position and a turn with it and what have you. And Charles just would go across the floor, zip, zip, broop, broop. We said, wow, he can really do second. But he was very nice to all of us, you know, that were not professional. We were just trying. And he said, you know, you and Audrey, you are just as good as some of the girls in the Dunham Company. We said, get out. What, please. He's just trying to talk to us. But he really, that's what he said. So, and he would take us out for coffee. He was just very nice, you know. So we got to be friends, and just from being in class and what have you. And if I needed a date or I needed an escort, I could call Charles, and he would say, okay, if he could, he would say, okay. And it just went on, and all of a sudden it changed. I can't say when or how, what, but you know, those things are like that. Your friends first, which is very helpful, I think. Yeah, but he was a very good guy, very nice.
Now this shot is really amazing. We've got Charles in there, we've got Alvin.
Look at Alvin up there, the maitre d'. He had a black patch over one eye. And, but there are a lot of dancers. There's Sally Neal here. That was a beautiful dancer.
What is this from?
This is Jamaica with Lena Horne. Yeah, and Ossie Davis, and what's Josephine Permise, what's in it? And
Oh, a huge number. I've got a little
the
list.
guy that used to be Mr. Greensleeves on
Lena
TV.
Horne, Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah, Ricardo.
Alvin, Billy Wilson, Nat
Yep.
Horne, Adelaide Hall, Ossie
Yeah.
Davis, Melba Moore.
Melba, I
Amazing.
know.
Pearl Reynolds. Claude
Yeah, Pearl,
Thompson.
right. Mm-hmm.
Amazing list of people were in that show. It was really phenomenal. And this was when the rehearsals began. for
Yeah,
that
Alvin
program.
started, yeah. Lena Horne was really, she was one of the nicest stars I ever worked with, really. Very motherly lady. Doesn't look it, but she was. And what she did was, she got the theater to let Alvin use the stage at, on matinee days. Some matinees, not all, but, which is really kind of unheard of, because you don't do that on a Broadway stage. But she got him, you know, access. So, and then that he would drag us, he said, eat fast and come back so we can try this out.
And how long would you rehearse? You generally rehearse?
Just
two
not
or three
too long,
days a week?
because, yeah, maybe more, yeah, more like one. We might luck up on two, but one, definitely.
And you would try things out?
Yeah.
And gradually it led to the program that you saw earlier, the Clark Center program?
Right, yeah. Oh, that's,
What is
oh,
Is
that was
from Jamaica as
a
well?
form of the blues suite that's been here and gone. That's what he called it when we went to the Far East. That we had a State Department tour that was out of Clark Center. Adele Holtz arranged that, and we went to the Far East. We were out for, goodness, I don't even remember how long, but it was a nice tour. 13 countries and Australia.
It was a State
Beautiful.
Department, a really
It was
amazing State Department
yeah.
tour. And
Yeah.
now here we have the actual Clark Center program.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
on there.
And there's a picture of you there.
Yeah, that's that same picture,
What else
really.
do we have in there?
Here's Alvin up there teaching.
Now
Those
this,
were
this is the Clark Center performance
yeah,
of Revelation.
yeah, that was when Revelations took the shape that it is now. But it was originally 6 people. And unfortunately, all of them are gone except for 2, me and Don Martin. Yeah, which is really
And you're
You
right
know,
there at the point of the
in the center, yeah. Alvin was on Alvin and Jimmy Truitt, Don Martin, Mary, what's her name? Goodness. Minnie Marshall. And Myrna White. Myrna just died this year. In fact, she died with the week I was working on the with the ALE boys, some of them on the Ostrich. They came in and said, "Oh, Ella, look, Myrna just passed." And I said, "Oh, wow." And they had that picture. There's a picture of the 3 of us, and both of them are gone, and there's me. So I said, "Wow." It was just kind of a weird feeling.
And the company was really at home
At Clark Center, yeah.
Because not only were Charles was teaching classes, Jimmy was teaching classes.
Yeah, there were a lot
Ella
of,
Hill was teaching classes.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really amazing place.
Chuck even did some things there, and all, you know, a lot of people. So that's different versions, because that's Carmen was that's the girl there, and then that's me. I didn't even see that picture until way later, with the thing over. I said, oh, that's kind of, my sister called and said, you know, your picture's in the encyclopedia. I said, really? What encyclopedia is that? But anyway, it's nice.
It's one of the pictures from Revelation. It's fantastic, really fantastic. And now we've got,
That was
this is
Australian.
another,
Burma.
this is Burma. This is another State Department tour.
No, same one.
Okay, okay.
That's Charles shaking hands with the, at that time, Prime Minister Unu. And what happened, it's Thelma Hill right in there too.
No, right.
Yeah, in between them. And what happened was they came to see us off when we were leaving the country. And where were we going? I forget. I'm not sure, Laos or somewhere. But when we got to the next stop, we heard that they had been overthrown. So they came to the airport to see us, and then they were jailed right after.
Wow.
So they made a big thing, I guess, you know, get them out of here, because they're with the U.S. government. But they were jailed. That's
That must have been a really eventful
Burma
tour.
also, with the gamelan, the orchestra. And that's me, is that me and
How was
Delma?
the company received during these tours?
Very well, because they love dance. They love dance all over the world, I think. People love dance, so. And actually, some of the dance in, was it Burma? I think it was Burma, looked a lot like Graham technique. So, and they said Graham had been there, and she, you know, there's lots of similarities there. Because she thinks of some, yeah, quite a few.
Amazing. So the
They were
next-
sort of proud of that, which
Now, the
was
next
interesting.
slide is, I think we have another Revelation slide. And this was,
Oh, that's,
oh no, okay,
that's,
great. This is
okay.
perfect. So this is, what show is this from?
That's Lamp Unto My Feet, I think.
This
So
one-
even after performing with the basically nascent Ailey company, you went back into Broadway shows?
Yeah, but that was still with Haley.
Okay,
Yeah.
was, okay. No, not this one.
Oh, yeah,
The
but,
next one.
yeah, because we were in and out, because Alvin couldn't play us.
That's right,
then.
that's right.
You know, the thing is that we were working on Broadway because we had to eat. That's like a job. I mean, like me working in Stearns too. I don't knock Stearns, very good. But the thing is that we would do these things for free with our peers because that was art, you know? So we would starve to dance with one of our peers.
I think a lot of younger dancers don't, you know, that's a really incredible love of the art and a real dedication to take the time, your own private time, your own personal time to do this work, and you really enjoyed it. You talked about how you worked with Jeffrey
Yeah.
as well. Who were some of the other people?
Oh.
Tally, did you work with Tally?
I worked with Tally briefly because I found out I think I got sick, and then I found out I was pregnant, so I couldn't work with him. I was sorry, because Tally, you know, you don't just get to work with him every day, so I was really sorry, but I couldn't do it.
But those must have been really special times. You know, being a Broadway gypsy, dancing in a lot of shows, and then also doing modern dance as well. Really at the very beginning, the birth of modern dance in a lot of ways.
I guess, you know, it just seemed like it was just life. It was like you're living your life, that's it. But it didn't seem anything special at the time.
Talk about the tight-knit community, because you were telling me once about how wonderful all of you guys would get together, and sometimes you were roommates, sometimes you would hang out together, you would go to different shows, tell one another about concerts that were coming up. What was that like?
Well, you know, it was more overt racism, I guess you would say. So we kind of clung together out of necessity, you know. Mickey? Okay, goodness. Oh, nice. And, okay, I'm seeing faces in the audience, and I'm like, oh. I'm happy to see everybody.
But you clung together.
But we did cling together because, you know, and we gave each other tips. You hear something, okay, that this show is going to have a mixed cast, or maybe they might split it, like Showboat. We were always glad when they did Showboat. They would bring it to the beach, to, what is it, City Center. City Center has that encore program every year where they bring back musicals, old musicals. And City Center has always been, what do you call it? They were not prejudiced. It's open casting. They would hire, if you could do it, if you could dance or sing, you know, you'd get the job. They did not. It wasn't racist.
But
one of the only places.
But you guys would let one another know.
Yeah,
they're
we would,
hiring
yeah.
blacks or they're not.
Because people hear things and, you know, they really kind of pass it along. Go take this audition, because they are going to use, we heard they're going to use 5 minority people or whatever. So, you know, survival techniques. But it helped, you know. Because sometimes, I'll tell you, there was a time there when you would go to audition for Broadway shows, go to the stage door, and the stage manager would say, yes, can I help you? Like, why are you here? So, I'm here to take the audition. Really?
They weren't even very subtle.
No, they weren't. So, there was a wonderful man named Charles Blackwell that some of you might have known. And he worked for the David Merrick office, which was a big theatrical agency. And he used to prowl up and down Broadway and go in the dance studios. As June Taylor was a big thing at that time, the studio. And he would tell people, he said, go to this theater and take this audition, and don't let them turn you away. Just insist and go in. So we're really kind of like being freedom fighters in a way. When I thought about it, I said, wow. But
It was a survival
you had
method.
to do it. You had to do it.
And the pay then wasn't the best, but it was really a chance to work.
Yeah.
Roughly, what was the average pay? When you were doing something like Showboat, do you remember what you were making?
I don't really.
It
But
wasn't that
Broadway salaries were good. I mean, compared to what we would get in a private company, we were happy to do that, you know.
Did you automatically join a union?
You had to. You had, at that time, when I think you could do 2 shows and then you have to join. But they would take it out. You could do it that way in increments, what have you. So
now
it's a
we
lot
have
different now.
We have another show.
That
we're going to
was
see.
Irving Burgee. I don't know if any of you heard. He did a lot of Caribbean music, and especially with Belafonte, Deo, and all those things. So, but he wrote the music for this ballad for Bimshire. And Bimshire, I believe, is another word for Barbados. So, let's see, that's Joan Peters and what's this girl's name? Lauren, I can't think. That's Lou Camacho, was my roommate on the other side. That's me down there on the there. Who's that?
Is that all?
I can't really see who that is.
Looks
Like
like Charles to
yesterday.
me.
It might have
Like
been
offered to me.
Charles. No, I don't think it, Charles was in it, but I don't even know if he was in that.
Okay.
I think this guy Dallin or some, anyway, they were all nice dancers. They were really good dancers. And there we were. It was a nice musical.
And yet
Oh,
another
that's me
musical.
backstage at Hurley, Loretta. Remember what we were doing? She was there with me.
George was in that. George
Yeah,
Mazzone was in
and there's Loretta and me.
And what are you doing?
And
You're
Pearl.
knitting. Did you
Yeah,
knit during the breaks?
because, you know, there's some shows, well, Pearlie, we did the opening and the closing, but I sang in the pit. I could sing, so I got a little extra thing. So we sang da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da under Melba Moore. So we got, but otherwise, we did the opening and we did the finale.
So
That was
in
it.
between time, you would sit and knit.
We knit, we
sweaters.
did all kinds of educational things, because we had all this time, you know. So, it was fun.
Some people got in trouble too.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
Some
really?
people left and, you know, would go out and say,
Okay.
I'll be back. Don't tell anybody we'll be back. But if they didn't, you know, hey,
Lost a job.
yeah.
So now the next slide we have, we're moving from Hurley, we actually moved to the founding of the company. Right?
No, that's
1974?
Zeta. No, that's,
Oh, I'm sorry,
Sue
okay,
Zeta.
so, oh, this was inserted,
Mm-hmm.
Sue,
okay. So
that's
tell
me
me
over
what this
there.
is.
This was Menashe Skolnick, the Jewish,
Sorry. Okay, Menashe Skolnick was a Jewish actor, but also a humorist. And they did this play about him, the Zeta, it's like the grandfather. And the Zulu was Lou Gossett. Was he on there? He's not on this one. We were the Zulus in the town and around, working in the house and what have you. That's Ed Hall. That's Christine Spencer, who did a lot of things.
Roughly
And
what year was this?
let me see.
In the
I really-
70s, right? Maybe 76?
Something, maybe, yeah, maybe something like that. Yaphet Kotto is on there. Peter Deanda.
Okay.
A lot of actors on there. Because they were the Zulus that were trying to stir up something. I forgot the story. And the Jewish grandfather saved the day. So it was a nice little
So our
show.
next slide, move down memory lane. I'm just keeping an eye on the time.
Yeah.
I think we have another Broadway show
That,
coming up.
no, that is,
Clark Center.
Now we're talking about the company, aren't
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I guess so. Because I think that's me and Charles in the front.
we? It is.
Yeah. And that was, what were we doing?
Was this
It
Haitian
was-
Suite?
Might have been, I think so, yeah. Yeah. Because Louise they encourage us to, kind of expand and what have you. So that was one result.
Now, the company's home was at Clark Center for a while?
I guess you could say that, yeah, you
You
could say
rehearsed
that.
there,
Yeah,
performed there?
we had rehearsed.
And did you have a steady group of dancers that you worked with?
Not at
constantly,
that
or-
time. It's like, because people are moving around and just trying to make a living, so, you had to take whoever was free, who could do it. So,
But this was the beginning,
Yeah,
beginning of the
yeah,
company.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Because Charles used his students first.
How often did you perform? Did you give a performance once a year, once every 6 months?
Not really.
Was it a regular?
No, because it started out of school, so, we did things there. I think we were up in the Bronx doing that, a street thing or something.
This was Lincoln
Link, oh,
Center?
was it Lincoln? Okay, thank you.
Oh, see.
But we did a lot of those outdoor things. They don't do quite as many, the dance mobile and all of those. Those were really nice.
That was a very vibrant time. There were
Yeah.
tremendous amount of work going
Yeah.
on, a lot
And,
of
yeah, go ahead.
funding for the work that you were doing, and the company was really enjoying a big popularity. The reviews were remarkable.
Yeah.
And the company was first called Charles Moore, the Dancers and Drums
Yes,
of
yeah.
Africa.
I forgot why that, well, it was him. But he danced, he was a solo art performer first. And and then he had Ralph Dorsey drumming with him and a couple of other drummers that you might know some of them. But, yeah, yeah. And me, I got there because he was dancing with a lady named Betty Barney. It was a big girl, big lady, but she danced like a feather. She was beautiful. But something happened, I don't know, and she couldn't dance anymore, or she moved, or whatever. And Charles said, "You're it, because we got a performance." I said, "I don't know that. I don't know that dance. I can't dance like Betty." She was a real powerful, very beautiful dancer. So I had to learn because there was nobody else. That's how you get pushed into a lot of stuff. There's nobody else. You got to do it.
So
So
talk about Charles's approach to the work. You mentioned during one of our previous conversations that he really learned a lot about African dance from a lot of folks who were here, who had come
Mhm.
here to study at Columbia. Talk about how he
Yeah.
advanced his choreography, and also about the fusion of styles that he used to blend, to make that company work, because it was African, there was a little bit of Dunham thrown in, there was a little bit of modern.
a lot of Dunham.
Yeah.
Well, Charles came from the Dunham Company, so he had been with her, I think, for about 6 or 8 years, traveling around the world. And so he learned a lot from her, because she's really a master at what she did. She had no grants, no nothing. She just traveled around the world with a company at that time, still very racist, a lot. But she managed, and he said she hawked her jewelry and things like that. They would know when bracelets were missing or something. Miss Dunham had hawked it to get them to the next city or whatever. But anyway, it was just, it was an interesting time.
But that influenced his choreography as well.
Yeah, she influenced him a lot. She really did. She did. Because she was really a master at what she did, and especially for the time, you know? Because she, you know, I look at things, the fishnet that hangs, people have that in tropical movies and what have you. Always see fishnet and to certain props. But Dunham did it first, because she had something, Adios Terras or something, a Latin, kind of a Latin American thing with using props like that. But she started a lot of things that went on, you know, so.
But now, a lot of the dances that we're going to see this afternoon, the work that Charles did, he really had a chance to talk to a lot of students who were here.
Yeah.
Talk about one or two of the pieces that he really drew from other influences.
Oof. Oh, I'm trying to think.
We know the ostrich dance, but talk about
Yeah, well, he got
Chihuahua.
that from Chihuahua. He got that from Dr. Pascal Imperato at Downstate. He used to travel around Africa, and he would collect. That was his hobby, was the Chihuahua, and he would go wherever it was. He heard, you know, because you hear about it, that it's being performed. And that was his hobby, the Chihuahua. Hi, Tracy, one of our old former dancers. And that he was really nice, Dr. Imperato, because Charles tracked him down at Downstate, and he recorded the song that we use today, the Chihuahua. He did it, and gave him a lot of information. People were at that time, very open and generous about telling you about their culture. So it was easier than it is now to get things, really. But
So he paid a tremendous amount of attention to detail.
yeah, well, he learned that from Dunham, he said, because she was a stickler for, if she's doing a dance from a country, she tried to get everything right. The costumes, the time they do it, time of year, everything, all the parts of it, the rhythms, everything had to be right. And she taught that in her school while she had it open. Mm-hmm.
What's wonderful is that all of that comes full circle with the Charles Moore Dance Company now. And this is something that you guys are going to be able to see this afternoon during the concert. So welcome.
It's not just us, but lots of other companies.
So now what we're going to do is just open it up, because we've had a wonderful time with Ella reminiscing, so we want you guys to ask her some wonderful questions. Are there any questions coming from the audience? Don't all speak at once. Yes.
Yes, what was your favorite play to work on?
Out of the musicals that you
Out of
worked
the
with?
musicals, yes.
Out of the musicals, what was your favorite one?
You know, I really think West Side Story.
Oh, sorry. I think West Side Story, because in West Side Story you had to do everything. You really had to use your talent. You had to act a little, sing a lot, dance a lot, and you know, run around and duck stages that are you had to, it was, you weren't bored ever. You were always trying to grow a little bit in West Side, get a little better.
Working with Jerry Robbins?
Oh, he was a taskmaster, but he knew what he wanted, and that's sensible to me, because it cuts everybody wasting a lot of time. He'd cut right to it, you know, and either you did it or you didn't, and if you didn't, you're out, goodbye, and next person. But you know, it's time. Time is money on Broadway. Everywhere, time is
How did he
money.
treat the black dancers in West Side Story? The black dancers, how did he treat them?
Well, we were in gangs. He didn't look at like black or white, but you were a shark or you were a jet. You know, you were the white gang or the Puerto Rican gang. So it was like that. Yeah, in fact, at first they really separated us to make you think, you know, work more as a group. So the sharks were, you know, get their thing on, and the jets would get
Stay
their,
in
yeah,
character, yeah.
you stay in character. That's very interesting, working like that.
There's a
Yes?
question over
Yeah, it
here.
was very interesting, Ella. I saw, just out of coincidence, I saw West Side Story last night on Channel 13.
Mhm.
And I'm just watching it. It's just amazing how, in many ways, it's dated.
Yeah.
You are sitting there, a little uncomfortable. I felt. But on the other hand, the choreography is just so brilliant.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely brilliant. But while I was watching it, I started doing a lot of research, and what they said was that Jerry Robbins really instigated a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the anger.
Yes.
I mean, for him, that was important.
It fed the show.
Yeah.
He actually encouraged the Sharks and the Jets
Yeah.
to be, to
Be separate, yeah.
That's
he
why I
really
have,
kept-
yeah.
So that was, it was part of, that's how he operated, So, there was,
Yeah.
but he felt that it brought something to the,
He wanted it to be real, and to
Yes.
come, not just acting, but he wanted you to really feel something.
Right. Any other questions? Yes.
You mentioned going to Cuba, and I'm not sure of the time frame. Was that a time before the United States said no
Yes.
travel to Cuba, or it was before then? I mean, and how
Yeah.
were you, artistically, how were you received?
Well, we were working, we went there to work in the Sanssouci nightclub.
But it was before the revolution.
It was before, but I'll tell you, while we were there, people started running through nightclubs and stuff, and it got really strange. So then the agent told us we better get out of there.
What year was that?
I can't really pin, but it was in the 50s, probably the
Late 50s?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And when you say people running through the audience, what do you mean, disturbing the
Well, I mean,
performance?
was the nightclub, and they had open air nightclubs in Havana, so they would come, it was in the audience, there was a lot of movement
Was it
that was
undressed?
not ordinarily there. So you get your antenna up, so you know it's something's happening. So we had to leave, we left and came back to Puerto Rico, went back to Puerto Rico.
As an aside, one quick question there. How was it growing up for you? Where did you start out?
Me?
Yes.
Ah,
Did you go to
yes.
school, and how did you get to that?
Yeah, I went. Yes,
You
I did.
remember.
Okay, I'm a preacher's kid, so I grew up moving a lot. I was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee. My father, my brother was born in Petersburg, Virginia, and my sister was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay, so we did a lot of moving around, and my father was one of these pastors that likes to take small churches and build them up. And then it would get to be very nice and lovely, and we'd say, oh wow, we can stay a while. And then my father said, I got another church. I heard they need me. And off we'd go to another little church that he's gonna build. That was like, I guess that was his calling. He liked to do that. So it was hard on us.
No, we have another question back there. Yes.
Hi, Ella.
Oh, hi.
Hey, I used to play with you years ago, and I wanted to ask, how have you managed to keep the Charles Moore Dance Company so relevant over all these years?
Oh, well, it's not easy, not at all. And we've had a lot of bad patches there, but we kind of held on some way. We just did. And we had a lot of help, because I have to say that people have helped us all along the way, because we could have never made it. Nobody's by themselves, really.
It's been kind of a community too. The dancers
Yeah.
have really come forward, and they've really kept in touch, even
Mhm.
people who come through the company.
It's
kept in
true.
touch with.
Like we just had someone that we haven't seen in a long time, and that was Madhu Nias. And Madhu had gone to Miami, and then he kind of dropped off the radar screen. But he came last night to the theater, and it was like, what? What? But everybody was hugging him. He was really surprised, because he said, I haven't kept in touch or whatever, and I know
So
you're excited.
everyone, this is wonderful, but we've got a program for you to enjoy. And we want to thank you for coming and listening to Tea with Ella.
Let me just say one thing. Now, when you go in, you have to remember that some of these dancers haven't danced in a long time. Okay? But everybody is giving it their all.
It's in the bones.
It is, and I think it's lovely. I'm happy to see everybody. There's one back there. There's Eddie, Akwesi, Asante. Yes.
Oh, thank you
And,
so much. I have strict instructions that we have to give you a break before the performance, but you are welcome to stay and mingle, have some more tea, and we'll put the video back on. Okay. Thank you, thank you.
Woo!